So mobility work, first thing is a quad stretch. So quad stretch can be done standing up, holding on to something if you have to, just foot behind, pulling your heel in towards your bum, keeping your two knees nice and close together, tucking your pelvis under, squeezing your glutes, pushing the hips forward. Okay, other than that would be a bit more conventional as to what we do in the gym, either on the ground or with your foot up onto a bench. Okay, so on the ground, okay, it's coming down that lunge position. Again, you can reach forward, hold on to something in front of you if you need to, pull that heel all the way right in, squeezing my glutes, tucking my pelvis under, and then just leaning forward into it. So okay, so you will do 30 to 45 seconds on each side with that. Then you're just going to go into a hip opener to some T-spine rotations. Okay, so hip opener T-spine rotations is simple. We're just bringing that foot out in front of us. Opposite hand comes onto the ground. Okay, so from there we're just going to lift that back leg up. Okay, and then we're just going to try and lower that chest down towards the floor. Okay, right down. We're going to get down into that bottom position. We're going to hold for between 20 and 30 seconds. Once we've that done, hand same side as my leg comes off the ground, and I'm going to come underneath my opposite armpit and bring all the way up. Nice straight line, trying to get between my hand through my two shoulders and down into my hand. All the way back underneath my armpit and rotating up. So you'll do 6 of the rotations on that side, then switching over and do 6 on the other side. Then our last thing just to warm up is we're just going to do an isometric lunge hold. So I'm just going to step back into my lunge position, coming down, and then I'm just going to hold with my back knee about an inch or 2 off the ground, and I'm going to embrace my core and just hold in that position for between 20 and 30 seconds, standing up out of it, switching over and doing the same on the other side. So same as usual, 3 rounds of that before we get into our strength work on Metcon. So today there is some strength work programmed. Try your best to try and get the strength work done as much as you possibly can as well. Okay, it really will be a benefit to you when you actually come back into the gym. Alright, so again, class will only be the Metcon. Okay, so strength work, just try and get it done before we come on to Zoom or whatever. Okay, so strength work today, we're going to do some split squats. Okay, so split squats is going to be our main one. Okay, so what we normally do in the gym is we do rear elevated split squats. Okay, that's with our foot up onto the bench, lowering our knee down. Okay, so again, we can do that for this as well. If you want to do those body weight, that's perfectly fine. Or you can do them weighted, or we can do them banded. So I'm going to go through all those movement options with you. Or what we can do is you can do just a split squat, which is actually just onto the ground. Okay, you get into your split stance. Okay, you lower yourself down, knee touches and back up, but you remain in this split stance, okay, until you're finished all reps. So it's down, touch and back up. So, or you can elevate it, and you don't have to go really high like the bench height that's in the gym. If you just have a lower box or whatever it might be, then that's perfectly fine. Just build it up slowly. Okay, so body weight is fairly self-explanatory, we should all know. Remember, a couple of little key points to remember with that front leg. Okay, we want to keep that knee turned out, so when I go down and touch, foot is flat on the ground, my glutes are nice and activated, and I drive back up, keeping that knee in a strong position, that this isn't happening where I'm collapsing in, putting too much pressure on that front knee. So alright, when we are doing them to an elevated, okay, there's a couple of little things that we need to just be aware of. So when I put my foot up onto the bench or whatever it is, okay, I only need basically the bottom of my laces. Okay, when I lower myself down, sorry, this is a moving chair, so a little bit awkward. When I lower myself down to the ground, okay, I always maintain that gap between my heel and my bum. That's not going to work. Between my heel and my bum. Does that make sense? So don't be sitting back onto it, and then don't try to scoop yourself up. Okay, so we all know what the split squat should really look like. Just remember that and keep that foot down and knee turned out. To use the band, okay, to use the band, all this is quite difficult and it's a lot harder than you think it's going to be. You can create your own tension. So I've just got a purple band here. Okay, so for me, what I want to do is I'm going to stand on that band, okay, across the middle of the both ends of it, and then I'm going to wrap it around my hands just to create a little bit more tension. Does that make sense? So I'm going to wrap it around, okay, get into my stance. I'm going to come down into my stance and then drive up, and I feel that resistance from the band, down, touch, and drive through. So I'm creating my own resistance with the band. Okay, if you have a harder band, okay, or if you need more resistance, we can come up, hold a little bit more tension onto the band, just wrap around your hands a little bit more. You can do the exact same thing with a red band. You just wrap it around a little bit more, or the red band itself might be enough. Or obviously you can go into a green band. So okay, so there's loads of options for the split squats, but I do recommend trying your very, very best to get as much of the strength work done these days as you possibly can. So do between 6 and 10 reps on that, dependent on what version it is that you're actually doing and what level of difficulty you find. Okay, then after that we're going to do some plank rocks, okay, or just a normal plank hold, whatever it might be, just a little bit of core work. So just remember with the plank, okay, we want to get into position, pelvis is nice and tucked under, okay, so pelvis is tucked under, so I always say belt buckle, so we're not into that position, okay, we're tucking our pelvis under and down. So with the plank rocks is the one where we slide our feet forward and back. Is that okay? So I've been really inventive here, using a couple of PlayStation 2. Some of you might even know what a PlayStation 2 is. Okay, so PlayStation 2, okay, not a PlayStation 5, PlayStation 2 game cases. Okay, you can use anything at all. Basically just looking for something that will slide on whatever surface it is that you're actually on. Okay, so if you're on tiles or wooden floor, then obviously just a T-towel or something will work. Okay, so it's coming down, okay, getting into position, plank position, tucking that pelvis under. Okay, and then it's pulling myself forward and back. Okay, you're looking to do between 8 and 12 reps on that. Is that okay? Then after that, okay, so usual 5 to 6 rounds on that. Then after that we are going into some ladder work for our Metcon. So really straightforward, the ladder work. It is 14 minutes, building up as high into the ladder as you can in those 14 minutes. So you're going to do walking or static lunges, okay, 1 on each side, then 2 on each side, and so on, all the way up as far as you can get, and you're doubling that up with renegade rows. Is that okay? So basically round 1 will be 1 and 1, okay, and then down into a renegade rows. Whether you're using a kettlebell or dumbbell, whatever it might be, just try and find a weight that will make it a little bit more difficult for you. Okay, so again, it will be 1, switching over, and 1 on the other side. Or if you're using a dumbbell, okay, so if you're using a dumbbell, the same idea. Okay, getting into a renegade roll position, up, touch, roll the weight across, touch. Okay, just with the renegade rows. Okay, if you've only got single weight, okay, I've no problem when you get to, let's say, 5, where you do all 5 on one side and then all 5 on the other side. Is that okay? So that's a little bit of a challenge as well for anyone that's looking to RX it, is to try and keep the weight in your hand the whole way through this, when you're doing your lunges and when you're doing your renegade rows. At the only time that it should leave kind of hands is when you're rolling it from one side to the other. That's all. Just a little bit of an extra challenge, that's it. Anyone that doesn't have a weight or struggles with renegade rows, a little bit of a new movement, what you're going to do, okay, and you're going up through this as well. So in number 1, you'll do 1 walkout, then you'll do 2 walkouts, 3 walkouts, the same as you're going to do. Okay, so a walkout basically, okay, is hands overhead. You're going to come down, hands resting on the ground. I'm going to walk my hands all the way out to a full press up position, and then walk them all the way back in. Okay, when you get to 2 lunges on each side, you do 2 of those walkouts, 3 lunges on each side, 3 of those lunges, and so on. Is that okay? So that's your